Hey everybody, it's been about 2 weeks and I've heard from a couple of you on email. I'd like to be hearing from some more of you, so I'm just going to give you a few prompts and a little bit of instruction about the survey and a little bit about some coaching too. I'll probably separate those into two separate videos. The first thing is that I just wanted to touch on for your survey, the idea that you want to draw this survey into professional development. So it's not just something that needs to be focused on content, but you want to get some sense for what types of professional development people would like to see. So everybody's tired of the sit and get, just having an outside presenter come in and do something, or even people from inside the school just showing a PowerPoint presentation. It's not an effective way for teachers to learn. And I also know that a lot of the professional development days that you have in schools are monopolized by the district coming in and just telling you what regulations are, that type of thing. So we need to use this survey as a way of actually figuring out what kind of professional development people would like to be seeing, what would actually help them grow and develop. So some ideas that I can give you that you might be able to pull into your surveys. One is that I've got a list of just the most basic principles of effective professional development. The first is that effective professional development is site-based, which means that the design and everything else tends to come from the actual school building. And inside the school building, that means that leadership is distributed among teachers and groups of teachers, and teachers get a lot of choice in what's actually going to be happening. That's what we mean by site-based decision making. Site-based decision making could be just a principal telling everybody what to do based on the test scores, but that's not what effective site-based decision making is. So that's principle one, make the decisions site-based. So you want to give your people in your survey a chance to talk about that in some way. So I'll just toss that principle out there for you and see if you can think of ways to put that into a survey. And the second principle of effective professional development is that it's long-term. And when I say long-term, this is kind of funny because some schools think that long-term means just like more than one session happens on it. And the research on effective development is actually showing that we stay on a similar broad theme that can sustain inquiry for over a year. And there's some really effective schools with professional development where they focus on something for as much as 3 years to get things done. And that means the topic has to be broad. It has to be something like informational writing or comprehension, or, something that's pretty big and can sustain that long a time of teachers learning about it and learning how to work with it in the classroom. So for many teachers, the longest term they've ever gotten is like a second session, a follow-up session on something. The third principle of effective professional development is that it's based on student information. So, and I don't want to just say this is like, let's take the test scores. It's supposed to be based on what we know about our students, what we know about our teaching, and how we find the middle road between those two areas. So certainly test scores would enter into that, but a big question for most teachers is, do you have, or do I have adequate information to make decisions on what to teach my kids next? And test scores really rarely get us there. Test scores are supposed to give us just a broad sense of how are we doing overall compared to other schools in the nation. Very few of the tests that we're using are actually qualified to be diagnostic tests. So asking teachers what kind of information they need about their students, or whether they've got the ability to aggregate that information into a usable bit of information is a good thing to get out there too. So those basic principles of professional development are things you should consider if you're thinking about how can I really draw the people out in this survey, this needs assessment survey. So that's the first area, was that I was going to talk about effective professional development. The second item is that you might want to talk, if you want to get this concrete, just ask people in the survey about professional development structures. Have they participated in a lot of active learning structures in professional development, or have they just participated in sessions where somebody has a PowerPoint slide up? So I'm just going to go through a set of these that are from a book called Differentiated Literacy Coaching. Great book just because it has a section for each one of these different types of professional development. And I'm just going to go through these. I'm putting this up as an attachment with this video so that you can see it. It's going to be called Coaching Continuum is the name of the document. So I'll make sure that you get a copy of it to look at. But I just want to explain some of those principles one at a time. And let's see, Coaching Continuum. Professional development certainly can include content presentations on literacy, what it means to be a learner, what it means to be a teacher, how to do things, what's the latest research. There's nothing wrong with having some sessions on that type of thing. But think about fleshing out the year with things like this. Collaborative resource management is a kind of professional development. Teachers getting together to look at the resources that they have and organize them and prepare them together. Focused classroom visits are a type of professional development. How frequently do you get to go out and see other people teach? Particularly focused on something you want to learn how to do. Co-planning is another area of professional development. Do you frequently get an opportunity to spend time planning with people at the school level? And when I talk about co-planning, I often hear people talk about the team meeting. Very many people in our country get time for co-planning with a team. One of the types of co-planning that seems to be missing in many schools, and one that is a hallmark of schools that beat the odds, schools that have demographics stacked up against them, poverty, lots of English language learners, things that you would expect would create a difficult school. Schools like that succeed do their co-planning vertically as well as horizontally, which means that teachers meet and plan across grade levels, not just within grade levels. Another type of professional development is study groups. When paired with teacher choice, study groups are extremely rewarding. If you and another group of teachers get to choose what you want to study and how you're going to study it, and you have a way of accounting out to administration what you've learned and how that's going, it's a great approach to a professional development. Demonstration lessons. How frequently do you go out and give demonstration lessons on what your strengths are, and how frequently do others come around and do demonstration lessons based on their strengths? Along with that, another technique is co-teaching. When you're really trying to learn something that's difficult and has some tricky maneuvers in it as far as organization and behavior management, as well as assessment and other things, if it's tricky, co-teaching is a good idea because the two of you get to figure it out together with your students. And the last one is peer coaching, what we're working on in the 692 class. And the spirit of peer coaching, the way they presented it in this book, really is what you're doing. It's not having a separate literacy coach who comes in and does things. It's the idea that teachers need to help each other set and keep goals. So those are some structures that you could think of putting in place if you want something else to work with in your survey. The last thing that I just want to mention, the third thing, is that the point in the survey is not just to get some feedback, giving people a list of things to check off for you. The idea is to draw them out, give them a mix of open-ended questions, as well as questions where they check off options and choices. If you don't give them those open-ended questions, you really will miss that opportunity to draw them out and hear things that they might want to tell you about what's going on with their professional development. So anything that you can do to work on drawing them towards you is great. One of the tricks that we've seen oftentimes with just asking people, would you like to know about this, would you like to know about that, is that a lot of us as teachers are pack rats. We'd like to know a lot about everything, and we know that we haven't had the background or training in many areas of education. So a laundry list of how many of these things would you actually like to learn about will get you some information, but that needs to be fleshed out with you trying to draw the teachers into talking to you in short responses, 2 and 3 sentences, a phrase, even a shorter essay question where you just ask them, tell me what you think about X, is going to draw people out more than just the common survey questions. So please make sure that you make an effort to mix it up I know it's difficult to do that and keep it to one page, but I think it's quite doable if you split your page up into sections and play around with the formatting a little bit. Okay, I'm going to stop right there, and I'll post up another video that's going to be about the coaching